Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Iconic Insights podcast by Iconic Accounting. On this episode, we are joined by our two guests, Lyndsay and Lana, which are members of the Iconic Accounting teams themselves. So the topic that's going to be covered is direct from our experts and a run through of the company solutions available for contractors. So yeah, for any potential first time contractors there, or for anyone debating what company solution they should opt for, this episode is definitely a listen for you guys. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Iconic Insights podcast. I have my co-host Sean here making a return, of course. And in this episode, bit of a change of scenario. Our guests are actually internal team members at Iconic Accounting. So, and I would say Sean would say esteemed guests.
Yeah, they are esteemed.
They are, definitely. So we have Lyndsay, which is head of compliance, and we have Lana, which is the team lead under the umbrella company department of Iconic Accounting. So yeah.
Should we put over some like scary, eerie music about the head of compliance? Dun, dun, dun. I'm only joking. But no, first and foremost, thank you both so much. I know how busy you both are. The fact that you have taken the time out to join us is massively appreciated.
Definitely.
What we're trying to do today is, I suppose, to give people that aren't, let's say, already in the contracting ecosystem a little bit of context with regards to the differences between umbrella company solutions and also private limited companies, which obviously, Lyndsay, you have massive experience in as well. But before we get into all that fun stuff, we always start with 10 quickfire questions. So this gives not only ourselves, obviously, a chance maybe to learn something new about our two very esteemed colleagues, but also, obviously, the listeners, to give them a little bit of context to who you are and what you're about. So he's ready for the quickfire questions. Not sure.
Silence.
Yeah, okay. Scared is okay. So we're going to start with you, Lyndsay, and we are going to ask, if you could master any dance style, which one would it be?
I think Latin. Latin American, yeah.
Okay. Lana?
Moldovan national dancing.
Okay. Now I'm very intrigued about that. I'm going to have to go and research that afterwards, to be honest, but you've got me.
Your favourite age so far?
Oh.
It took me forever to go through all mine when we done it as well.
Like to the year?
Just rough. Do you know, could be...
I think...
Age bracket.
Obviously, you're only 23, 24
Oh,
now.
yeah, of course, yeah. When I hit 30, I think.
That'll probably be it when you get there.
Yeah, and then it's all downhill from here.
Oh, I just realised I'm 30.
I'm not going to go into that. My 20s, I'd say.
Your 20s favourite era.
Yeah.
Happy enough with that?
Yeah.
Generalisation. Okay, perfect. Next question is, do you have a bucket list? Doesn't have to exist physically, like, but do you have a couple of things that you're like, oh, I definitely want to do that?
I have stuff like that I kind of class as bucket list items, but I don't have a set list.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I've done, like I went swimming with whale sharks in Mexico, and I kind of was like, oh, that's a real bucket list kind of thing. Not that it was necessarily there to be done, but I did it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I kind of have like a mental one, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. What about yourself, Lana?
I'd say as well, I had a childhood probably dream when I wanted to swim as well with dolphins, and I did that. And so would be few of other items, which I'd love to visit Singapore as well.
Okay.
And that is on my list as well, yeah. Traveling, would say, and probably go back studying French.
Oh,
I'd say.
excellent.
Yeah, and that will be
See?
on to do.
The goal in
Yeah.
2024.
You learn
Yeah,
something
I'd
new
say
every
so.
day,
Yeah.
you do. But yeah, so what you've just told me there basically is, you know, the podcast wasn't on the bucket list, but you can take this
Oh
off.
yeah, I'll
Yeah.
take this off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Done and dusted. Never has to be done again.
Or come back again.
Along with webinars.
Don't be saying things like that.
So, learn by watching or learn by doing?
Doing.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
Doing as well.
Very practical. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Absolutely summer.
And not in Ireland.
Preferably.
Because that's winter.
In which subject were you worst at school? Don't say accounting.
None, because I'm fantastic at
How
everything.
compliant.
History.
Yeah, same.
I loved this.
Oh
Hate
no.
history.
No.
I
all
know
the
it's
years
essays,
and-
but like,
Yeah, no.
Not for me either. Lana,
Geography.
geography?
I didn't
Not
do it
mine.
either.
Yeah, geography for me was a lot of colouring and stuff in
I
first
mean,
year.
I
It
still
was
don't
I know
know.
it's colouring, and that's
Yeah, it's
probably was like didn't make sense.
Yeah, do you know, I agree with you there. I probably wasn't getting as much value as I would have liked to. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? Anywhere.
Good question.
Somewhere sunny.
That's quite broad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just not Ireland.
Anywhere but Ireland.
Wow.
No.
And if you're considering relocating to Ireland, please skip to the next episode.
I would say Italy probably.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. For the food, for the...
Yeah, I'd say a culture
quite
and
relaxed
everything,
as
and,
well,
and a
aren't they?
culture
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
Spain, I'd say, will be the most popular answer, but I'd say Italy probably.
Italy
Italy's
for you.
gorgeous. though.
Yeah.
And
It
Lindsay's
is.
not
Yeah.
fussy as long as the sun is there.
What dish do you cook best?
Oh,
Or are you cooks in the house?
I make a nice chili pasta dish.
Chili pasta.
Mm. With prawns.
Can I hold you to that?
No problem. You won't be getting it now after getting it.
Well, my kids say I'm a good cooker, but I can't really judge.
They're growing
So,
anyway.
I know. They can do it themselves now, that's what I mean.
You're doing something
So,
right.
I don't know. I'd say I since I moved probably to Ireland as well, I kind of integrated into a culture in here as well, and be cooking mixed and Moldovan and
Nice.
some mix of Irish
Yeah.
as well, dishes exactly.
Excellent. Excellent. If you could learn an instrument overnight, what would you choose? Or what would it be?
I'd like to learn piano.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's something really
Absolutely.
classical about
Yeah.
piano. I really like
Yeah.
it. I love listening to piano. Why are you looking at me?
Because I know someone that could teach you, but...
I
I'd love
always
to be
was
doing-
saying. I think I would be brutal, but I'd love to.
Piano as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah.
Two very classical ladies. Fair play.
Favorite type of dessert?
Um,
I'm expecting big things.
do you know, I always go for when I see it on a menu, and it was Dad's favourite as well, creme brulee.
Oh,
Mm.
bit bougie there, isn't there?
Yeah.
I'm not a dessert person, so I don't know. I'd say Irish coffee then.
Irish coffee.
Yeah. That's
A
will be my
woman after
dessert.
my
Yeah.
own heart. A woman after my own heart. If you could have any book or movie turned into a theme park, what would it be?
This is a really difficult one, I think.
So somewhere where you could basically immerse yourself in this book or in this movie as if it was real life.
It's kind of already been done, isn't it?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Harry Potter and Universe.
Come on, like there's
I
more
thought
books
you
and
would have been
movies than
Disney.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I know.
that. Yeah, Disneyland, I suppose.
but
is
like
there.
any one Disney movie, like I'd want them all, which
Yeah.
is there already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
See?
say some of the Disney movies which you'd kind.
You have, like,
Yeah.
What would you answer that question?
Oh, Disney. I would.
will
I
be-
haven't done Harry Potter now.
Oh, you have to
I
go.
have to do that.
In
It's
London or
ama-
Orlando?
No, in
No, in
Orlando.
Orlando.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I wasn't there when I was there. Right.
We went the year that the Hogwarts train opened, that brought you from one theme park to the other, and even that's like a theme park ride
Yeah.
in itself.
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing.
Was it 9 3/4 and the whole?
Yeah, and like you're on it and the glass is like frosted, and then it's like the Dementors come on,
Oh,
and oh,
class.
it's really brilliant. Like,
Class.
So I will be going to Orlando this year.
Bucket list.
did you take me?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get
I'm
somebody-
coming as
I'm
well.
trying to
Lindsay,
get somebody
we're
to take
jumping.
me. Gary refuses to go back since honeymoon because he won't get on anything. So I'm like, I need someone to bring me. Any clients out there?
Yeah.
Orlando, no problem.
Yeah.
Is that bribery for the No, obviously, only joking. So thank you very much for answering our quick fire questions. We did gain a good insight into both of you there. So now we're going to get into the real questions.
The debate. Dun, dun, dun.
These are sitting very close for a debate, but we trust you.
We're
We're
friends.
working for the same company,
Okay,
so
same goals.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Do you want to start, or am I going to
Yeah, like,
put the gloves on anyway?
so how it's going to work is the same question, but obviously PLC umbrella.
Okay.
I think we'll go with the same flow. Lindsay, Lana.
I think in
Or
this,
mix it up.
yeah, I think in this essence it probably makes more sense to go umbrella
Umbrella
first.
PLC.
I agree.
Sorry. Lana.
That's absolutely
Sorry, but
fine
that's
with me.
Yeah.
Typically the natural progression, isn't it?
True.
Not for
brand new
everyone.
contract,
Not for
it would be.
everyone, but
No, we'll see now.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll soon find out.
So, what advantages does the umbrella company offer to contractors compared to other options?
Well, absolutely. With umbrella company, first of all, it's absolutely brilliant option for the first-time contractors. Immediate setup
Yeah.
and no cost. Basically, you just call in BD team,
Yeah.
sets you up, and the umbrella company is ready for you.
Yeah.
So,
it's almost
all
like
you
get
need is
experience.
just to exactly rely on us,
Yeah.
and we'll do everything for you. And it's pay as you go, basically.
Yeah.
Pay as
Yeah.
you use service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Stress free, like it's
absolutely,
Yeah.
it's stress free. It's immediate setup. You don't need to worry how what you'll be advised on,
Yeah.
and
Go with the flow kind of a solution.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
And there's enough obviously to kind of be thinking about if you are considering a first contract opportunity and getting your head around without having to worry about.
And even for people who's first time, like I mean, obviously who are thinking to relocate to country as well, it's the best option to go with.
Yeah.
And to go under umbrella company.
Yeah, no
It's
cost to set
another
up. Yeah, it is actually.
added pressure.
It is.
Yeah, relocation.
But perfect. Ready?
Yeah.
What advantages does a private/personal limited company, and again, just to clarify for everyone watching, we often refer to them as personal limited companies because they're personal to that contractor, but both obviously structures are private limited company structures. So what advantages does a personal limited company offer to contractors compared to the umbrella?
So I agree with everything that Lana said. Obviously, the umbrella is quick and easy to set up, but from a PLC point of view, you've got a bit more flexibility in terms of your tax planning, what you can do with your salaries, and you don't have to take out everything and pay massive amounts of tax on a monthly basis. You've a lot more freedom in that sense of what to do. Like you can set up a pension in both scenarios, but with PLC you can kind of pay a small amount and then lump a bit into a pension at the end of your financial year if you choose to do it. So you just have a little bit more wiggle room with a PLC than you would have with an umbrella. Umbrella is just that little bit more restrictive in the terms of tax planning and stuff like that you would have in a PLC. So PLC is definitely, if you're, once you get into contract and you decide, oh, I want to do this long term, you would start considering setting up a PLC to avail of those flexibility options that you have.
Natural.
Thanks.
No, very good answer. Very good answer, to be fair. I think you have hit the nail on the head. If ever you want to change into BD, to be honest, I'm all ears.
No,
But no, like you've genuinely hit the nail on the head in terms of what we would kind of, I suppose, outline as the,
Recommend.
you know, these are the things that you need to consider. And like you say, I do like the idea of someone going into an umbrella first without having any
Absolutely.
investment.
It should be,
You know, because people often see the cost of setting up. You never really consider the cost of closing down as much as we try to make them aware of it.
That's one of the
Yeah.
things
Also the
which you
red
need to
tape as well.
consider as well. It just to and again, when you first time contracting, you probably don't know how it goes for you.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
if you're there and you know, oh, that's for me, then you kind of consider,
100%.
and there is a flexibility again, and you can
100%. 100%.
go around.
Just to kind of finalise on that, the main, I suppose, drawback there from an umbrella perspective to the personal limited company is you don't have the ability to store funds like you touched on there and kind of go long-term tax planning. But there are obviously some other ways from pensions, etc., like you touched on.
So how does the process of setting up and managing an umbrella company differ from other routes? I think you've kind of
Yeah, you did, to be fair.
gone through
we
that
did
as well.
basically, as we said, it's immediate setup.
Yeah.
There is no actually startup costs or anything. Basically,
closing costs.
you just exactly. It's no, you just go basically.
Really like a rent a space in a company, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that's what you have. Basically, the contract is there. We'll look after everything, and then you immediately. Again, as I said, if somebody's new, we'll help as well with their basically PPS letter and things like that. So it's a good. When I came first to the country, and if I'd have someone who can help again and who can advise me on that, and that would be great. And that's again where you go. You go with umbrella. You look to. You trust someone to look after you after your taxes and get the full advice and everything, and then you
It's
take it from
guidance,
there as well. It's a guidance, absolutely, fully guidance and fully managed by the account managers.
And in fairness, like what I always find really refreshing to a certain extent is we would have some people that have been in an umbrella company for years. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's testament to how well they're looked after there, how much stress-free they can actually work and actually focus on their own kind of, you know, deliverables for their clients.
Absolutely, I'd say as well, it's comfort
Yeah.
zone for some people as well, and they know, as I said, there is no closing fees. So, and they know if, say, for example, the contract wasn't extended or something, then they know, look, that's what happened. We just cease the employment for them, and they can think or rethink what they're going to do, or again, they can reconsider to go to PLC if they have a long-term journey there.
Opportunity,
Down to somebody's personal circumstances and personal choices as well.
Absolutely.
They might not be interested in the tax planning side of things
Yeah.
or all that. They're quite happy to go with what has been going on for the last few years. And if they're happy to continue that way, then, you know,
Absolutely.
each to their own.
Yeah.
It's really down to personal choice and what people want to do from a tax planning perspective and
Again,
financial perspective. as
once
well.
they feel tax compliant and they know that we'll look after that part, and they know they're getting paid the taxes are
Sorted.
sorted
Yeah.
at source as such, and it goes to their personal bank account. So that's it. I'm taken from there, and I know.
I personally think it's definitely an easier transition for someone that's come from permanent employment long term.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely. It just a mindset, I'd
Yeah.
say, at the start. It just gives them that comfort.
Yeah.
And then they can understand what is contracting is. And again,
Yeah.
obviously, with our advice and support, they'd kind of go through and understand, oh, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
all good
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, you get your pay
So,
slip, you get your money in your
absolutely.
personal account. on
It-
you
It
go.
works
Sometimes
absolutely
settle,
same way. It just
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
different class BSI you're paying, but that's it. And again, it depends what umbrella option you choose, yeah?
I feel like, again, it probably has been answered for PLC as well, even just from the two initial questions. Like, how does the process of setting up and managing the PLC differ?
Compare, yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously there's the initial setup cost, and that's really for incorporating your limited company. That's personal to you. It's your choice of name, your choice of directors and secretary and shareholders and all that stuff. And then again, it's very like the umbrella service. You know, we do the invoicing, we do the payroll, we do the VAT returns and all on your behalf, but we don't have access to your bank. So we're not in charge of doing the payment stuff. So we will do the payslip for you, but you then have to transfer the funds into your own personal bank account. So again, you've got all the freedom there with the transactions that are going on, but we will still do all the stuff that the umbrella's doing. What I will say is, if you've got a contract lined up, it's definitely a much smoother process to go from an umbrella into a PLC without interfering with your contract that you've already got there, because you can continue doing what you're doing in the umbrella, and then once your PLC is fully set up and ready to go, and
You
all
can
the
make
bank
the-
and all that, it's a
Yeah.
smooth transition internally from our point of view. We literally
Absolutely.
just move you across from one to the other.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then I suppose once the management's done, if you do decide then you're gonna finish contracting or you want to close your company, then there's obviously a close down fee, and that's again just because there's an additional process involved that wouldn't be in the umbrella,
Umbrella.
because we have to close your company down.
Very good.
Fair.
Yeah.
Lana, are there any certain professional scenarios where opting for an umbrella company makes more sense? And again, we have kind of
Yeah.
touched on these.
We
you
probably
know,
touched, as we said, first-time contractors.
Yeah.
first time.
Relocating to a country as such
Relocating.
as well. And some people, again, as we said, just feel comfortable. There is option under umbrella PAYE, yeah, just to keep contributing to Class A PRSI,
Yeah.
again, just for their own
Yeah.
Preferences.
again.
Yeah.
That was definitely a massive factor in 2020
Yeah,
when
that
COVID
changed.
was,
Absolutely,
you know.
absolutely.
But-
But I'd say that's again with the budget now and everything. The earned income tax credits, it's same as employee
Yeah.
tax credit.
Yeah.
Yes, when it was a difference, people were thinking and they didn't know. But now there is no. And again, people, self-employed people contributing to Class SPRSI, they can still have social welfare as well. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there, yes, the only one is sick pay. But again, under being a contractor, you can do income protection. And
Yeah.
there you go. That's again, you look after yourself and you manage how you want to look. Again, there is pension, there is income protection, there is many, many more, again, expenses which you can. So, no, I'd say it's that's the one what I'd say when you think of umbrella
Yeah,
in that
definitely.
scenarios.
So to recap then, we're saying first-time contractor, relocating contractor, and short-term contractor. essentially.
Absolutely,
Ideal
absolutely.
for an umbrella.
Ideal, yeah.
And maybe if you have a
low
bit
rate as well. You know, if you've got someone who's on a day rate that wouldn't be, you know, they're not going to pay massive tax through the umbrella.
Yeah.
They might consider the umbrella option as well, more so than PLC.
Most
because
of them,
fees
yeah.
and all that kind of stuff.
It just kind of weakens the benefits of the PLC,
Absolutely,
doesn't it?
yeah.
Do you know, when
and
you-
then having the cost, you can't justify the cost that you have of having that company then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Not that there's a massive difference in fees, but when you
No.
take
Yeah.
into account timelines,
Absolutely, yeah.
there is more work required.
And again, like those fees again, there you get tax relief in them again. We're going to.
yeah,
So it's beneficial for someone to consider setting up.
Yeah.
But
it
It's
has
just
to be
for
like
you.
you say. It has to be in the right scenario, doesn't
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So it's again personal preferences.
yeah.
it? Yeah, it's not
Anyway,
one size fits
yeah.
all.
I think
Absolutely
you
not.
really touched on something important there though, that like when people sometimes make the move to contracting, because it is a new process, and with everything when something's new, you have a concern. Like you might,
Absolutely.
like some might.
Yeah.
So having the option to retain your Class A PRSI, that might be literally the determining
It
factor.
just to kind
Yeah.
of give that first step, you know,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
baby
Yeah.
step to
Yeah.
contracting,
Yeah.
and that's what's going to help them.
Yeah.
Just again, as I said, it's mindset. I know it's always concerning when you start something new.
Yeah. Yeah.
But once you into this, once you understand, and once you have someone to guide you,
Yeah.
again, there is
It's
no
like
problem to
Settle,
switch
yeah.
from payway umbrella to director umbrella.
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
like really easy switch.
Yeah.
And again, once you're in director umbrella, again, you see your benefits there, and then you can consider moving
To PLC.
to PLC. Yeah.
Perfect. Lyndsay, are there any certain circumstances or professional scenarios where opting for a PLC makes more sense? Like again,
Yeah.
you've touched on a few of them.
I think, in terms of long-term tax planning, age is definitely a factor. For example, if you're in an umbrella, you've been going for a couple of years, you decide, I'm going to do this up until the point where I'm going to retire. What you could do is you make your move into the PLC, you start building your funds in the company, and if you meet certain criteria, there are reliefs there available, and the main would be like entrepreneur relief and retirement relief. Retirement relief is the bigger one, and the better one. So as long as you're in the age criteria and you decide that I'm going to retire now, I've built up quite a decent fund in the company, you can take out up to 750 grand tax free. That is the major benefit. So if you are in your 50s and you decide you're contracting up until you're in your 60s, now is the time to do it.
Yeah.
And you want to build that fund. If you've already put into your pension, you're quite satisfied with what you've already put into the pension, but you want that little bit of a pot at the end, that's definitely the one that we've seen take up the most.
Excellent. So again, just if we were to recap that into a number of words, the long-term players, I suppose, so the guys that, you're not on a 6-month contract, it's not your first time, you've got kind of, I suppose, a guarantee almost out of you. The guys that are nearing retirement, let's say,
I would say in your early 50s.
Okay.
Because you have to have 10 years behind you for the retirement relief.
And again, for the age criteria, and obviously if anyone wants any further information on that, you can get in touch. But yeah, really interesting. So long-term tax planning, long-term contracting, and like you say, the flexibility piece, whether that's from a pension perspective or I
And
suppose
someone
extending.
probably who feels confident already with what they were doing before, if they were like a year or two in umbrella, and as Lyndsay said, they know they have a running contract which will go on and on, so they can consider and again.
Or if they've multiple contracts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've got people that have multiple contracts going on. Also with the PLC, they've got the ability to take on people to manage them contracts with them. They come on as an employee. So, as we're back to flexibility again with PLC, so there's kind of a number of scenarios why someone would make the switch.
Yeah.
We're going to reverse this question now.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Absolutely.
So when would choosing the PLC company not make sense?
You're going with PLC first?
Yeah.
All right.
You're in a flow. Who am I to interrupt the head of compliance in her flow?
Again, first time contracting, just because the money that you have to put behind to get the company set up, you have to kind of think of it as like an investment. If you don't think that you're going to be in it long term, you're just having costs that are just unnecessary when you could have just gone into the umbrella at a fee per month without a one-off fee, going in, closing. Also, if you don't have a contract lined up, there is absolutely no point in setting up a PLC, because again, there's dormant fees to take into account. Just because your company's not trading doesn't mean we don't have to do stuff in the background.
I think that's an important point. Sorry to interrupt you, but I think that's something that's massively overlooked.
Yeah.
Is if I didn't do anything with my company, sure, I can just leave it there.
Yeah.
It's not the case, unfortunately.
No, we still have returns to file.
It's someone you need to understand what is personal limited company and how it works. I mean, what guys will be looking after. So obviously, as Lyndsay touched, there is accounts which still needs to be filed regardless.
Revenue returns,
exactly,
CRO
absolutely.
returns, income tax returns. Like
Look
once
at her
you're
go, look at her
registered
go.
director, the compliance side is coming in.
Absolutely. There again, under umbrella, you don't need to worry about this.
Sales pitch. No, we're all in, Lana.
Yeah, but then they'll end up getting hockeyed out of it. Tax,
They
so,
they absolutely
swings around a
have.
bit.
This is what we came for. So just to recap on that, someone that's, again, very, very new to contract, someone that's potentially doing it for the first time, like, definitely doesn't make sense in that regard. And like you say, all of them advantages that they're looking to chase after, by all means you can do that, but don't do it immediately. Don't put an additional kind of cost, an additional workload on yourself at the start.
For everybody.
Yeah, and that's fine. It's absolutely fine. But yeah, no, really, really happy with that, to be fair. Gonna ask the same question to yourself, Lana. And this probably is going to be a little bit more difficult, to be honest, because I do think that I think umbrella's kind of a lot more one size fits all than the personal limited company would be. So when would choosing the umbrella company not make sense in your opinion?
Again, I probably reverse back to Lyndsay and what Lyndsay said. It's obviously when you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
you have already experience, like, I mean, in contracting, say, for example, you were doing that before as a freelancer, ending, your mindset is there, and you know what is personal limited company, and you understand that, no, I want to do something which I'll manage, which I'll be looking into. I know that I want to do that, and that. When you basically have
Clarity, kind of.
and clarity,
Yeah.
you know. So, if, I don't know. One example, you just decided to go, like, you know, like you had that experience, and you know, or I'd say in the case as well when you probably were a sole trader, and then again in that kind of base as well, you were doing it just in a different, and then you decided it's better, I'd say, for that person just to go and have the personal limited company. Yeah.
Like you say, you have the exposure to invoicing,
Absolutely.
collecting payments,
Absolutely.
you know, all that kind of stuff. I would say again, it's when your needs kind of change from I need support to no, I don't need support anymore. Obviously, support is nice, but I don't need hands-on support from the umbrella side.
And you want to be in control.
Yeah, and again, kind of that flexibility piece. That's where it really remains, kind of, I suppose, present. Then, thank you very much.
That's no problem.
The gloves are nearly off there as well. Did you notice that?
And I actually would say as well on that one, maybe Sean, I'll add to that one, and definitely when you want to employee someone as well, you don't have that option under umbrella.
Yeah.
Again,
So if you're growing,
so there is absolutely when you're growing and you want to,
thing.
it's a big thing as well. Which
the other
again,
point is probably the multiple contracts. Now
Absolutely.
again, not for everyone, but that would kind of lead
Absolutely.
into the employment opportunities,
Yeah.
etc. Whereas, like you say, from a long-term tax planning perspective, like
and
if you've got multiple
because
incomes,
under umbrella there is no option to employee someone
Yeah.
or do so. That's again that's BLC.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so what common misconceptions would professionals potentially have on the umbrella company solution?
I'd say one of the most common would be expenses, like, and will be mileage expense and business assets.
Big thing,
So,
like this comes up all of the time, Lana. All of the
Absolutely.
From
time.
both
Like, but
PLC and umbrella
yeah,
perspective.
but like again, what I really struggle to comprehend and understand is why all of a sudden people think that you getting to an office is now a business cost. Like,
I'd say again, some people think that it's just because you
I
again
am the
under
business.
umbrella,
Yeah, maybe.
or again I have my company
Yeah.
again. Whereas the confusion is, or I'm
It's
under
my
PLC,
business.
it's my business, and I decide. No, unfortunately, revenue doesn't look that way.
Yeah.
It's you cannot claim to work. Yeah,
For business travel. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's only if you again travel outside of
Your
your
main
normal
place of
place
work.
Yeah,
of
yeah,
work
yeah.
again. Yeah, and again in that, even if you have questions, even if you're not sure, we have account manager who will assist you again
Yeah.
and guide and explain all circumstances and how it looks how we look at that
Yeah.
again. Yeah. So and what you need to
Do essentially.
exactly
Yeah.
absolutely.
if
yeah.
in doubt, reach out before you take on any expense.
Absolutely.
Because
If-
obviously I presume there are instances where people make purchases and then
would
Yeah.
be
we look
again,
at it and it's like, unfortunately,
I'd
we
say,
can't
Sean,
allow
as
it.
well, taxes will be one of them as well. When they not sure, can I claim the taxi? Well, in some case scenarios you can, in some of them not. Again, you have account manager who will look into that and advise you.
Yeah. So
If-
don't be afraid to use them,
Absolutely,
basically.
don't.
Yeah.
That's why. And before you can't even consider to like, and you need anything, like, say, for example, you need, again, I'll come back to business assets. If you require a laptop for work purposes, again, all the expenses should be wholly and exclusively related to your current contract.
Yeah.
So in that case, you need to work remotely and you need to buy a laptop. You're not sure, will that be allowable or not? Again, there is account manager who will always
Guide you.
advise you how
Yeah.
and what you need for that.
Yeah.
What backup documents you need for that. So
Yeah,
and
you'd rather,
that's again, you rather
find it
double
out.
check.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, you rather double check.
especially with the cost of
And
some
we're
of the
there
laptops.
for you. Like, I mean, we're there to advise. We're there to guide you in the right direction as
Yeah.
well. And no, do double check and do reach to us, and we will be happy to help.
Yeah.
So the main ones around the expenses then, to be fair.
I'd say it will be multiple business assets, and again, where the confusion will be, or people will consider again multiple. What I mean, it's same assets. Yeah. So laptop and again a desktop. Why would you need both
Both,
similar? That again you need to have in your mind.
Yeah.
And mileage again,
And
it's one of the
Again, it's
biggest-
never anything personal, obviously. Like, we're
Absolutely
just
no.
complying with the revenue guidelines
Absolutely.
because
Yeah.
ultimately we're here to protect you from
Yeah.
revenue,
Absolutely,
essentially.
we are there just to make sure you're tax compliant.
Yeah.
Fair.
And we're there just to guide you in the right direction and look after your taxes.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Whew, buckle up. What common misconceptions do you think professionals have about a personal/private limited company solution?
Okay, the first one we touched on earlier was if the company's not trading, there's no fees involved. Obviously, that's not the case because we still have to file returns, keep up with revenue, keep up with the CRO. So just because you're not physically contracting doesn't mean that you still don't have to abide by those statutory returns that need to be submitted. So unfortunately, accounts fees will still be incurred. Whether now, in fairness, it's a reduced fee. If the company's not trading, there's no payroll or anything being done, we have got a reduced dormant fee. So it's not that you're paying the fully managed fee and you're not doing anything. We're not that mean. The other one, it's pretty much the same. You know, we've a lot of travel and subsistence that goes through. I suppose from an umbrella point of view, it's different because the umbrella, there's other directors there. The companies are effectively icon companies. We do have the power to go no. With a PLC, it is your limited company. The team will by all means tell you, look, it's not permitted from a revenue point of view. At the end of the day, if you come back to us and say, I'm claiming it anyway, we're not going to stop you. You know, you've got access to pay stuff from your own bank account. You choose to do it. All we can do is guide you on what will happen if revenue come along and review.
Yeah.
So you're going to get the same advice regardless, but
But we
Yeah.
we
don't
don't
have
we
the power
won't
to stop
say
it.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't say no. We don't with PLC because it's not our company. It's your company. We can only guide and advise when it comes to PLCs.
Again, you'll still make sure they're tax compliant and just make sure that the advice is there. And again,
Yeah. Another one, employing people. A lot of people think that I can employ my spouse. I can give her 40 grand a year. No. So again, we'll say.
you got to that quick. Just
Again,
no.
sorry, no, I said, but we can't say no.
Yes, but
Again, we will advise.
it's
The
best
way
practice.
revenue will
Yeah.
say it is the salary that you're paying, particularly family members, whether it's a spouse, a child, a brother, sister, whatever it is, they will always say that it's down to the role that the person is doing.
Yeah.
And what would you pay a third party person if they were to come in and do the
the
exact same
same.
role?
Yeah.
You would have to justify it. There would have to be contracts involved. And you would need to be able to demonstrate that that person is actually doing that role.
Work. Yeah.
We have had revenue audits where that has been contested with revenue. They've gone to appeal. It's a no-go. So that's where we're coming from. We don't want to be mean and be like, no, you can't do it. We're always acting on the client's best interests.
Yeah.
But if they coming back and say, I'm paying her 40 grand a year,
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do.
there's
like
only
you
so
say.
much we
Yeah.
can do.
I think what a lot of people overlook there, though, right, is, and again, this is obviously based on, I suppose, you know, real life examples that you see, is like, yeah, okay, we understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to, you know, essentially get one up on revenue. Very, very, very highly unlikely that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And not only that, the cost and the time associated with going through that process in terms
Yeah.
of an audit, in terms of, you know, whether it's days off work that you're required, that you don't really consider all these things. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the shortcut route is never the right way.
Yeah.
and I think, Sean, the main thing, and as Lyndsay said, that the client needs to understand that it's best of their interest.
Yeah.
We're really
Yeah.
there for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're just to make sure
Like,
Yeah,
we're on
tax
your side.
compliant.
You
Like,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
want
Right,
revenue on your
absolutely.
doorstep just as much as you don't want revenue on your doorstep.
And I'd
Yeah.
say that's why they're coming to us, because they want to hear that advice.
Yeah.
And if we wouldn't,
That's what they're paying for, essentially, yeah.
Absolutely, that's what we're paid for,
Yeah.
and that's what we're there.
Like
Everyone-
if we were to let everything through and then there was a revenue audit,
absolutely,
and the client would come back and be like, why didn't you say
Yeah.
this to me, you know? And that's, we have to protect ourselves as well.
Yeah.
And that's why we will always guide you. But at the end of the day with a PLC, it is 100% your choice.
Okay, so recap on the misconceptions. Dormant still requires returns, so you can't just set up a company, leave it there for 2 or 3 years and
And
say,
not
oh,
pay, yeah.
it'll happen one day.
Yeah.
The next thing is the employing. So if you're employing someone, it has to be fair market value. It has to be, you know, the pay range has to be what it would be if you're going to a third party market. And ideally, they should actually be carrying out their role. And was there a third one?
Well, the same as travel.
Travel
distance
mileage
and
and on that
expenses.
one, Sean, I would recap as well, as you said. So if you're not considering using, so to not pay dormant fee, go to umbrella.
She's selling again. Look at her.
Again,
She's
so
sweeping
Well,
it
they've
in.
already set up a PLC.
exactly. So
and the PLC
before,
is
that's
being
what I
going.
mean, because it's there. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's again when you think that it should be, the filings are there. Again, as you explain, absolutely there is a cost. So before you're starting up, like before you're considering, you need to bear that in mind, and that's a very, very
Yeah.
considerable point. So
She's winning on the sales pitch here, Lyndsay. Just so you know. I'll take both. Used to be honest after today. So yeah, I think that gives a fair overview.
Yeah,
Is there anything else that
exactly.
we want to kind of key takeaway, maybe your piece of advice?
Yeah, like closing thoughts. I think the whole conversation is probably
Very valuable, I
Yeah.
think, to someone that is in either of the. Well,
Yeah.
probably more valuable to be 100% transparent to someone that's in an umbrella solution.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a personal limited company, you should at this stage know
Know how
what
it
you're kind of
works.
getting into, what's
Yeah.
required.
Yeah.
But I think this will be really, really valuable to people that are out there looking at contract roles in terms of, well, which solution is best for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be a godsend for us in the business development team where we can kind of actually use this as a resource as well.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
again, thank you so much for that. But in terms of a closing remark, what would you give? Flexibility, would that be it?
Flexibility and planning, yeah.
But also discipline, I think. No?
Definitely discipline, definitely. Because even though, like, it comes back to what I said earlier about you've got control of the bank, that doesn't mean go run away with all the
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
You know, we have to still file VAT returns. We will still keep chasing you. And, you know, if you're not getting back to us, we can't file returns on your behalf.
Yeah. And again, one of the things, and look at not to scare people, like, but if you're not compliant, typically there's fines, there's penalties, and potentially even interest to be incurred. as a
Yeah,
result of
sheriff
that.
fees, yeah, there's
Do you know,
all sorts.
You
It's
just
just
don't
not
want to go
worth
there.
it.
Yeah.
No.
Like again, like we say, the shortcut is never.
Yeah,
the-
and if you
the right
work
way.
with us, we'll make it as smooth as we can for you, that
Yeah.
you don't have to do as much of the work as you think is involved.
all
It
you
should
need
literally
is
be a
just to
case of
cooperate.
giving us a bank statement monthly, giving us your expenses, and signing a set of accounts at the
Yeah.
end of the year and a tax return. And that literally is all that it has to be.
Yeah.
You don't have to think, oh my God, I have to do all this
This,
stuff. We will
yeah.
do as much as we possibly can for
Yeah.
you if you engage and work with us on
Yeah.
it.
Again, cooperation, that's the main key in all that, and that's it.
Yeah.
Then, if I was to pose the same question to yourself, Lana, what key takeaway or piece of advice would you like listeners to remember when considering the umbrella company route?
Again, as I said, it's probably just the instance setup, yeah, and there is no startup fees or closing fees,
So,
which as it is there.
simple, straightforward.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, straightforward.
could we
yeah.
summarise then by saying that everyone in the room is in agreement to, ideally, if it's your first contract opportunity, go umbrella.
Yeah.
And then,
Absolutely.
by all means,
Experience.
consider the personal
Yeah.
limited company.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
the best thing you can do is get used to the system, get used to the support network around you with regards to your account manager, and then take that on with you once you don't, I suppose,
Absolutely.
feel as...
And again, it's like growing, yeah. So basically, you starting with one step and most
Yeah.
Stabilisers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The umbrella company are the stabilisers.
Stabilisers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whip them off and open a PLC.
Head of compliance, everybody.
And stay with Icon for.
Well, in fairness, that is, I think that's one thing that we're so fortunate to have, is throughout both of the teams.
Absolutely.
And I know that culture obviously has been set, well, long before my time anyway, but one of the things that I love is, regardless as to which solution you choose, you're going to have that support network.
Yeah.
Customer service is there.
And
Yeah.
again, one of, I suppose, the key mantras of Icon Accounting is we're a customer service company,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
equally as much as we're an accountancy company. So,
I'm in Icon 9 years this year, and there's clients that are still with us, that were with us when I joined Icon.
Yeah.
and contracting's
that's
a
a
short-term
testament.
gig.
Yeah.
Huh?
And they say
Now
contracting's a
when you open a
short-term gig.
PLC?
Oh, sales pitch is coming on now.
Same 9 years there, and as Lyndsay said, I think whoever tried contracting, they loving it, and they continue doing, and they only see the benefits of it.
One of the stats that we always pull out, right, when we go out and do kind of our support with, you know, our recruitment partners, etc. And I always fall back on this because I think it's mesmerising. 66% of our survey respondents in 2022, it was, sorry, yeah, 2022, we're currently, I suppose, doing the data and collating it all for 2023. But 66% of contractors that were surveyed or answered the survey weren't actively looking for a contract role. They were, you know, sought out by a recruiter, and it was basically presented to them. If you flip that, 90% of them will only consider a contract role going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because
They see the
realise it's not
benefit.
even a flexibility from PLC, but flexibility from a lifestyle point
Yeah.
of view.
Yeah.
You know, if they
Absolutely.
decide that they don't want to do a 5-day week,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
that's
then
up
it-
to
You can
them.
have that,
But
like,
I think that's
yeah.
like, if you think about
It
it,
is
like
massive.
it's, if you put it in the same perspective, it's like 6 out of 10 weren't even looking for it, but then
Yeah.
9 out of 10 want to stay.
Stay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wants
With,
to taste
with
it.
the contractors, even when we had our contractors party and you speak, and everyone
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
be highly saying a bit, again, it was like, first step was hard. But again, once they got into that,
Yeah.
they only see a benefit.
Benefit.
Yeah.
Again. And as Lyndsay said, it's a lifestyle. Again, you're the one decide, and again, you work on your project. You're the one to look for more interesting projects and contracts. You the one looking what you want
You're
to do.
in control.
Control.
You
Yeah.
in control. You always can upskill. You always can look into something. So
BD
there's
are
so
in
many.
trouble. In trouble. We'll get you
Yeah,
on the
but new
phones.
BD department open.
Yeah, honestly. Shauna's going to finish up, guys, with what we have in every podcast episode, which is our contractor dilemma. So these dilemmas essentially have been sent into us. And this one, I suppose, is quite relevant for this episode.
Yeah, so the contractor dilemma is I'm returning to contracting after taking a break in my last role. So basically a returning client with Iconic Accounting, let's say, and would it be common for contractors to move across to operating through a personal limited company, or what should I do?
Interesting.
So they've had a contract, had like experience, now going into this new role after a break.
Yeah.
Is it common that you go straight for the PLC, or do you
I'm
consider?
assuming this person was in an umbrella previously,
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
PLC.
Yeah.
So, like, initially, they could go back. It depends on how long the break has been.
Mm-hmm.
I would initially say go back into the umbrella, but but not stay in it too long.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, they
See
could
how you
consider
get on,
in
like-
6 months' time
Yeah.
getting the PLC ready to go.
Yeah.
The fact that they're returning to contracting shows that there is a long-term interest there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it could be a case that, do we know why they finished on? Maybe they got an offer and then decided that they didn't like it. See, this is the things that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People get a permanent offer and then when they've come out of contracting, they realise, oh, actually, I preferred it the other way.
Yeah.
We've had people that have closed down companies, gone back to contracting and opened up a new PLC.
Yeah.
You know, again, they've decided it was worth it doing it
Yeah.
that way,
The
and they've
grass isn't
reinvested
always
again in
greener.
a new company.
Yeah.
You know, so it really depends on
Their
the
own
individual
situation.
and their own situation. If it's
Yeah.
a longer term contract and it's something that they want to stick with now after having that break,
Yeah.
you know,
Um,
maybe the PLC is the
yeah.
option.
I think that just to kind of add to that, I think what would make that, I suppose, a little bit more clear for everyone is like how long were you contracting for
Yeah.
previously? Where are you
Yeah.
kind of in this scenario? But as a general rule of thumb, we'd be a lot more comfortable based on the fact that you've got some contracting experience. So our advice would not necessarily be no, don't go to PLC
Yeah.
route. You can by all means, but just to take everything else that we've discussed today into account with
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah.
It's really you need to have that chat again, like just to see where you are and
Yeah.
then make a decision.
100%.
On it.
100%. Again, one of the things that I think people tend to kind of have a mindset of is, oh, I don't want to miss out on it from day one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And again, with that one, Sean, I'd say, first of all, that they're, as Lyndsay said, coming back to contracting, it means a lot.
Yeah.
They took a break. They had some, I don't know, whatever personal circumstances, anything. But again, coming back contracting, coming back to us, that's the main thing as well.
Standard line.
And again, taken from there, I would say maybe depends obviously on the personal circumstances, but to go back to umbrella, it's again gives them some
Breathing
security.
room kind of, yeah.
And again, just like, I mean, straight away, instant setup. They go with the flow straight away. And then, oh, look, I'm happy where I am. I have a long-term contract, or even like, and then I can take it from there and then
Yeah.
see myself somewhere more.
But
Like,
get your foot in the door
In the
first.
grand scheme of things, from a tax planning point of view, 6 months isn't going to make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting you're kind of dipping your toes back in
Yeah.
the water, and you're
Absolutely.
getting yourself, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I remember how everything
Everything
worked now.
works. Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and obviously to give the time required to set up that company in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't happen overnight, as we know.
No. it
No.
No. So that's us, is it?
Yeah. That's us all finished. Thanks
Thank
a
you
million,
very much.
guys.
Thank you, guys.
Hopefully you were breathing the whole way through. Or else there's going to be some sort of a medical bill
They're
somewhere.
going
But no, honestly, thank you so much. Like I said,
thank you,
not
guys.
only people internally are going to benefit from this, but anyone that's considering contracting, anyone that's kind of on the fence in terms of which solution they should be opting for, I think they're going to get great value from today. So
Definitely.
yeah, really do appreciate your time, your insights, your expertise.
Thank you again. As I said, come to Icon and we'll look after you, yeah? Regardless, umbrella
There's
or
definitely-
PLC.
Closing
There's
remarks.
definitely business development in that woman, like. There's definitely business development. So,
Yeah.
I'll let you finish it up.
Yeah, so thanks a million, guys, for listening and potentially watching the podcast episode. And again, thanks a million to Factory 44 for having us in their studio today. If you haven't, make sure to check them out. And if any contractors, anyone considering contracting, needs any guidance on company solutions, reach out to Lana or Lyndsay. No, but reach out to the team and we'd be happy to help.
We're looking for more dilemmas. Get
Yes,
your dilemmas in.
yeah,
Get your
yeah,
dilemmas in as well.
Yeah,
so
true.
anyway, we can help, we will. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you to you
Thank
as well,
you.
Svetlana.